At your service, sir. You're all...
You must be the local gravedigger.
That's right. They call me František. At least them that can speak do. Ha!
I'm Henry.
Greetings, Henry. What do you need?
I hear there was a murder here recently. Some young girl?
True. True. She's lying in the morgue. But who the hell are you? Another gawker?
Another? Why would anybody come to look at her?
People ain't got no respect. As soon as news spread about what was done to her, folk are always turning up to have a gawk. So if you ain't one of them gawkers, you must be one of them other types. Well, no, you can't shave her. No, no thumb for a souvenir.
I don't want to take anything. I need to find something out.
Like what exactly?
Who killed her?
Why?
I'm in service of the Lords of Lipa. I'm to find out who was responsible for this murder.
What do the Lords of Lipa care about a dead girl?
Truth be told, not much. But it's at the request of her master.
Ah, that makes more sense. At least someone is trying to sort this out. The others weren't so lucky. It's true that Lumiere ain't shown no interest in her yet. I wouldn't expect that from him no more.
Who's this Lumiere? Another one of those gawkers and collectors?
No, no. He actually tried to help.
Help? How?
Well, he was investigating them others.
Right. You said she wasn't the first.
Aye. We had a couple of similar cases. Lumiere said they was all killed by the same murderer.
And who is this Lumiere?
He used to work for the local bailiff. I think he knew the first one what was killed, but that was a long time ago.
Do you remember how many girls were killed?
You mean you don't know nothing about it? Here, even the sparrows are squawking about it.
I haven't been in Kuttenberg very long.
I see. There's been one every few weeks for the past year.
Do you know where the last one got killed?
I heard some talk about it when they brought her here. But what do you want to do there?
Look for clues. Footprints, blood, anything.
That can help you.
That's worth a try.
I heard she was killed by the town walls, close to the Hole in the Wall, a dodgy tavern in the Hoprink neighborhood.
Thanks. What's this Lumiere got to do with this?
Well, like I told you, he used to work for the bailiff. I think he was a scribe.
A scribe keeps records in the Black Chronicle, though I've never heard of one doing his own investigations.
Well, the old bailiff wasn't all that interested in the common folk. But Lumiere, he was quite helpful. Folk heard about it and went to him with whatever was troubling them.
I'd like to speak with Lumiere. Do you know where I can find him?
At his home in Bohemia Street, that's near the church. You won't find him at the bailiff's no more. I don't know exactly why, though. Seems he had some quarrel with the bailiff.
Thanks. You've been a big help.
It's my pleasure, especially helping someone from the land of the living again. Actually, wait a mo. Speaking of the living, there's a girl what comes here and grieves over that dead maid. I think her name is Barbara.
And do you know where I could find her?
She said she serves in one of the burgers' houses, so either there or in the morgue with that poor dead girl.
Thanks again, Master Gravedigger.
Farewell.
I'd sooner see hell freeze over.
So, let's see what we have here. My God! Someone really did a number on her. Oh, they ripped open her entire belly. And they didn't stop there. There must have been buckets of blood. Jesus Christ. There's hardly any blood left in her. The place they found her must look like a slaughterhouse. I should go there and take a look. Her lips are bloody, but nothing more. Tongue still in place. But if he killed her for blabbing, I reckon he'd have cut out her tongue or something, wouldn't he? These are more like chops than cuts. Somebody must have taken a sword to her. Knife wounds would be smaller, and an axe would have made a bigger mess. But it couldn't have been a long sword. That would have been clumsy. It was something shorter and nimbler. God, that madman cut off both her breasts and bits of flesh. But what did he do with it all afterwards? Did he really keep all the pieces? Nobody could be that sick, could they? Her face is a little bruised and cut, but nobody cut her there. But she has a dark ring around her neck. Was she strangled? The murderer must have had pretty strong hands, and her hair is all matted with blood and hacked off. I don't even know what colour it was. Maybe there's something more to it. What if the murderer kept her hair like some kind of sick trophy? Just some scratches and bruises, that's all. The killer probably surprised her. She didn't even have time to defend herself. So, the murderer must have awfully strong hands, because he strangled her and left a dark ring around her neck. Then he took a short sword or saber and started hacking at her. She's missing parts of her torso, but they aren't by the body. He also cut off most of her hair. Somebody mutilated her and left her lying there as a warning. But for whom? Probably for someone who knows they're doing something wrong. Maybe Catherine is right, and they did it because of her. Are you Barbara? I'm told you knew Alice.
Alice? Aye, she was almost like a sister to me. We served together for years, in the same house. Why'd you ask? Who are you?
I'm trying to find out who did this to her. I'm afraid the killer might want to go after my friend as well.
Ah, I understand.
Who did you serve?
Our master is a local merchant. He is trying his hand at trading wine.
How did Alice get along with your master?
Fine. Just like with everyone. Our master is a bit strict, but he's fair.
What's his name? Can I speak to him?
Why? But you can't see him anyway. He's on a trade trip to Prague.
It occurred to me that maybe he could have done it.
No, he couldn't. He was gone when it happened. He hadn't been home in several weeks. And besides, why would he kill them others too? He never even knew them.
I heard about that. And also about Lumir.
Well, if you're interested, go and see him. Maybe you'll catch him sober enough to talk sense.
Do you know of any suitors she might have had?
I know she was seeing someone. Why?
I'd like to talk to him as well.
But I don't know who it was. Alice said he was rich and dressed nicely. But she promised him she'd never tell anyone his name.
And you never saw him?
No, never. I don't even know where she met with him.
Do you know what exactly happened to Alice?
No. Nobody saw or heard nothing. One day, she just didn't come home. And then they found her. Like this.
It's awful what they did to her.
She was such a pretty girl. And that beautiful brown hair of hers. And it didn't even leave that untouched. Who could have cut off her hair like that? And why? None of it makes sense.
So, I'll leave you to mourn in peace now. Lumiere?
Oh. Christ, my head. Not so loud.
I need to ask you something.
I said not so loud. I have a splitting headache.
That's some hangover. He's useless to me like this. Unless I'm willing to wait for him to sleep it off, I'll have to get him some kind of cure or potion. This should sober him up. Here. Drink up. Better?
What? Who? What are you doing here? Who are you?
My name is Henry.
And what do you want from me?
I'm trying to find out who killed a certain girl. And I was sent to you.
To me? What for?
Are you Lumiere from the Rat House? The scribe?
I used to be. Now I'm just Lumiere the madman.
Well, you don't look crazy.
Yeah. But I am. I see things in my head that aren't real. And then I point my finger at the wrong people. I'm the biggest madman in Kuttenberg.
But I need your help.
If I were you, lad, I'd leave it be. You can't help that girl anymore, anyway. You'll just end up hurting yourself.
Come now, Lumiere.
Poor girls. Nobody was all that interested in it, except for me. We let it be in the end. We let a monster walk among us. No way. You can't solve this yourself.
I'm not doing it for myself. I'm afraid he might kill one of my friends.
A friend, eh? That's not good. Not good at all. I searched high and low. And what did I get out of it? Just mockery. What makes you think you can find out more than I did?
Because I know people, and can easily convince them. In the end, they spill their guts.
I can't say you were very convincing. I still don't see why I should help you.
Because I'm not stupid, and I notice things. I've successfully solved a murder before.
Is that so? A murder investigation under your belt. And educated and observant, too.
Exactly. I'm not afraid to come to my own conclusions.
How about that? A real master scholar from Prague. Was that really supposed to convince me? Why should I trust someone so foolish?
Because I'm stubborn, and I don't have any other choice. I'll get to the truth no matter what.
Brute force won't help you, if it's not well directed.
No, not necessarily. If it's great enough.
So you want me to help you cause more violence? Why would I do that?
Because I have to find out the truth. My friend's life depends on it, and I won't give up, even if it kills me.
You may not be everything you claim to be, but I have to admit, you've got heart. All right. Talk to me. Who was this dead girl?
Her name was Alice. She worked as a maid.
A maid? That fits. Yarka was a maid, too. As were most of the other victims. What did she look like? What did he do to her?
I think that he strangled her first, and then went at her with a longer blade and disemboweled her.
Did you notice the strangulation right away? It took me a while. Maybe you really will track him down.
Do you think it's the same murder?
Counting your girl, that makes 6 victims who were first strangled and then mutilated. If it's not all the same person, they must be collaborating somehow.
This is the 6th one. How long has he been killing?
Probably about a year now. Sometimes it takes him months, sometimes weeks. But I'm including missing girls, Stanya and Zdena.
Did the dead girls have anything in common?
Aside from being pretty young girls with no proper family or background, no. I couldn't find much.
Do you think somebody is killing them because they're poor and nobody will miss them?
Certainly. If somebody killed the daughter of a local lord, no stone would be left unturned.
But why does he even kill in the first place?
I don't know. Maybe he hates women. Damn it. I feel like I'm going in circles and can't get out.
Did you have any suspects back then?
You can always find some suspect. I always dragged the most suspicious ones to the body in the morgue by force. And they threw up at the sight. Or fainted.
Couldn't it have just been an act?
Fainting? Vomiting? That's hard to act. I'd swear none of them did it.
Why were you looking into it? Who were those dead girls to you?
I don't know what people told you about me, but for many long years I was a scribe for Kuttenberg's bailiff. Kuttenberg is a big city with a lot of people. Silver, silver, silver. Mining it, smelting it, stealing it. There's always something going on. The bailiff was always running from hell to Hades, from one rich man to another, settling their quarrels. Often trivial nonsense.
But there are more than just rich burghers and lords in the city.
Exactly. There are common folk, too. There's a lot more of them, and their troubles are usually more serious. So when one of them came to the bailiff's one time, and the bailiff was running around somewhere, I started to deal with it myself. I was pretty good at it, too.
Behind the bailiff's back?
Not really. Andreas supported my activities until recently.
What happened?
I don't want to talk about it. Sorry.
What can you tell me about Yarka?
She wasn't the first. But thanks to her, people started taking an interest. She was a maid in a German family. By all accounts, she was a pious, polite girl. She was orphaned as a child. The priest from the Church of St. Peter and Paul, Father Prokop, raised her. They found her body tossed behind a barn at the edge of town. She was cut all the way from her neck downwards. An awful sight to behold.
Did you have any suspects?
At first, I thought the son from that family did it. A murderer is usually someone close, you know. But then I changed my mind.
Why?
Well, for one, I remembered the 2 girls before her who ended up almost the same. Besides that, when I talked to the lad, he seemed he wasn't the least bit interested in Yarka. Then his mother told me that they threw her out a week before the murder because she was a harlot who stayed out till all hours of the night. That really surprised me, because Father Prokop had vouched for her good reputation. But who knows? Maybe he just didn't want to admit what had become of her.
What about Stanya?
She was an alehouse wench in a tavern of ill repute called the Hole in the Wall.
You said her body was never found. Maybe she just got out of town.
You have no idea how much I'd like to believe that. Only there was a lot of blood. Unfortunately, the investigation wasn't very successful. The Hole is a world of its own. and the people there aren't very forthcoming with information.
Did you suspect anybody?
You could suspect every second man there. Those people have nothing but thievery and deceit in their eyes. The innkeeper, Mole, definitely knew Stanya, since she worked for him. But he isn't all that chatty either.
So if I want to learn anything more, I have to ask this mole in the hole.
Yeah, he still runs the place.
And what about that Zdena? You said her body was never found.
Exactly. But to tell the truth, nobody spent much time looking for it. Besides Alice, Zdena was the most recent victim. It's only been a few weeks since she went missing, but I suppose nobody wanted to do any more digging.
But if her body was never found, how do you know she was killed?
Because she was the same type as the other girls. Maybe the prettiest of them all. Young, beautiful. A real live one. Lively as the devil. She was a thief. A pickpocket. I never could pin it on her, though. She always found some way to get out of it.
Maybe she robbed the wrong people and had to get out of town.
Maybe. She had a partner in crime by the name of Strunad. Quite a number. He's always sitting in the hole, boozing. When I asked him about Zdena, he told me he'd rather rip his own tongue out than talk.
Do you think he'd be more forthcoming with me?
He might be. You're not known all over town like a catchpole. It's worth a try. Besides, it might still be fresh in his memory. That would be a great help.
And what about the other two victims?
It all started with them, though nobody did much about it at the time. The first one worked as a bathhouse maid. They called her Chestnut. She'd only been in town for a short while, and nobody really knew her. So I couldn't find out anything more. But the other one, Libushka, she was from Loretz. She was a maidservant, too. I also talked to her mother. She said she was really cheerful and outgoing. There were lots of suitors circling around her, but she refused them all. She knew she was pretty and knew she could do better than some farmhand.
You mean she wanted someone higher up?
That's what it sounded like. But her mother never found out who she had her eye on.
Interesting. I'll try to see what else I can find out from the mother. Where can I find her?
In the graveyard, lad. The poor woman died of grief. It's sad to say, but we can't help those two dead girls now. And they can't help us with our investigation either. There's nobody else left who could tell us anything about them.
Can you sum it all up for me?
We have 6 victims here. And I believe they were all murdered by the same killer. Unfortunately, we only know a little about the last 4, the most recent ones. By now, we won't learn anything about the first 2. Of the remaining 4, the first to be killed was the maidservant, Yarka. She was raised by Father Prokop from the Church of St. Peter and Paul. He should know the most about her. The next were Stanya and Zdena. Their bodies weren't found, but we assume they also became victims of the same murderer. They both hung around a tavern they called the Hole in the Wall. Stanya was an alehouse maid, and Zdena a pickpocket. And the last victim is Alice now, also a maid. What they all have in common is that they were young, beautiful, and brunette.
Good. I know everything I need to know.
When you learn something more, stop by and see me. You've aroused a bit of hope in me, lad. I hope you won't disappoint me.
Needles, thread, pins, silk thread. A blessed morning to you. We're now open. Fine day for some fine wares. Come and take your pick. Dyed broad.
How can I help you, sir? God bless you, sir.
I should get going. I apologize.
Bowls, pots, pot lids, the needles, thread, pins.
We're
silk thread.
open! Good morning! Come and buy our fresh wares.
Why the long face? She's got this nasty premonition. What premonition? I've got a barrel of ale at home. I'm afraid it'll go bad on me soon.
My wares will bring you joy.
Someone
Do your shopping here and you're in the clear.
my respect. I'm in the right mind.
Sod off! Linen canvas. The softest linen canvas. Shoes here. Shoe repair. I heard you're in need of money, friend.
True enough. I need to pay the tithe, give something to the church for my father's requiem mass.
Isn't it a bit early? It's ages till Sundays.
Strong rain, fine saddle.
Here, delicious horseradish. Come and get some wonderful horseradish.
Show me your wares.
Nothing. Your liking, sir?
Muslin, barches, the strongest barches from
Jugs here, big and small. Jugs for sale. Fair prices. Fine.
Greetings to you.
We've got enough to go around. Anything you
Buy
need.
2 pots. I've got lots.
Good morning to you.
You must be Franta Cooldown.
I am. And who might you be?
I'm Henry. I heard you're supposed to serve at the City Council Assembly.
I am. What's it to you?
Supposing I took the job on for you. You can put your feet up, fill your belly, and I'll do all the work for you.
Look here. It's not like I'm all that keen on it, but it's well paid. Apart from that, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. Them councillors stuffing their faces and guzzling wine, while I run around like a bugger with pitchers so they don't run dry. Why would you want to stick your nose in there?
I want to see the king in the flesh.
Why's that?
See, I heard talk in this alehouse that King Sigismund has been in Hungary the whole time. And he sent a double here in his place.
What are you blabbering about?
No, really. It makes sense.
Look here. Either you came down in the last shower, or you're trying to make a fool out of me. I won't fall for that.
Let me put it another way. How much do you want for your place?
Finally, some sensible talk. But it won't come cheap. When I count it all up, new clothes, wages, a backhander to get in there at all, not to mention the coin I'd make in other places if I could say I served the King of Hungary.
Try and look on it as an investment in the future.
What are you blabbering about?
If you forget about the payment, I promise I'll do a great job. If anyone asks, I'll say the great Franta Cooldown taught me. And then people will be jostling to hire you.
And what if I insist that you pay?
Oh, I might accidentally spill wine on His Majesty's shoes.
If that's how you want it. But if I hear a single complaint against my name, I'll find you and deal with you. Got it?
Absolutely.
To begin with, you'll need confirmation that you've worked as a waiter at the council and you're capable of serving even His Majesty. Look here. Do you have any idea what's expected of you? Can you tell different wines apart and that?
Well, to tell the truth, I'm not exactly an expert.
You're off to a great start, but whatever. If you make a mess of it and the king has you whipped, you've no one to blame but yourself. Show the confirmation to the head butler. Tell him I sent you, and think up some good excuse. Clear?
That makes sense.
And you'll need a waiter's livery. I had a brand new one made. I didn't get round to picking it up, so go and see Schneider in the market.
Thanks. I won't disgrace you, I promise.
You better not. Farewell, my friend.
We're now open. Good morning. Come and have a look. Fresh goods here.
Thank you, friend.
With prices my
We've got enough to go around.
Come and take
Anything you need.
Great for church and the tavern too.
Come and take your pick. New wares.
May God give you health, sir.
They say she's mad for it. But the old man just isn't up to it anymore. He wanted her to stop pestering him. So he made a deal with Dirk Stalin.
Needles, thread, pins, silk thread.
Axes, pans, nails. Take your pick. All quality wet.
Don't be shy.
A blessed morning.
Take a look. Quality goods here. Crackling flatbread. Twice greased fresh flatbread.
My respects.
Pies. A fine day for some fine wares. The finest wares.
I'm sorry.
Come and take a gander. We've got it all.
Come and take a look.
Not a chance. I'd sooner see hell freeze over.
Ah, that's a shame. There's something I need from her.
You've got legs, haven't you? Go and see her then.
You know what she's like. Since the two of you had that quarrel, she turned her back on the whole family.
I tried to make peace with her,
All
but
from the finest leather.
I apologize.
You're in the clear.
You're now open. Good
We ought to
morning.
go and see Rosa.
Come and have a look.
She'll be
Fresh
expecting
goods
me.
here.
Ah, and I mustn't forget about the city council.
Muzz. You silly doggy. We've got enough to go around. Anything you need.
Best wares on the market. Come and take a look.
Axes, pans, nails. Take your pick.
Quality
All
goods.
quality
The
wares.
finest wares. Bread here. Rye bread. Doesn't spoil. Come and buy some good bread. Quality goods.
I'm sorry.
Don't be coy. My wares will bring you joy. Iron wares, knives, rivets, axes. Jarvis here.
Fine wares here. Quality merchandise. Greetings. What do you need?
I hear one Franta cooldown is supposed to come and pick up new clothes from you.
Aye, the finest. I spent the best part of 2 weeks working on them, and damn near left my fingers on them as buttons. But it was worth it. With clothes like that, he wouldn't be ashamed to stand before the king himself.
As it happens, you hit the nail on the head. Franta asked me to pick up those clothes for him.
Really?
He gave me a certificate. See? It's got his name on it.
I was hoping he'd try them on one last time before final adjustments. But, very well then.
Would you repair a few things for me?
Shoe repair. Hose! Colourful hose! Great for church!
Not a chance. That's how the boot blood liver sword. Come and take your pick.
Bloody swine! Good to see you.
Franta Cooldown sent me. I'm to stand in for him at the council assembly.
Franta's not coming? What's wrong with him?
He got poisoned. Probably from food. He's writhing in agony. By turns praying and cursing, spewing from both ends.
Oh, that's enough. All right. At least you're here. We can't be without a waiter here, when the king himself will need waiting on. So, let's have a look at you. Have you got Franta's certificate?
Sure. There is.
Everything's in order. Now, about your livery. You know a good waiter by his properly seated cap, and you don't have one at all. Without a tunic, you're no royal waiter, just a common alehouse boy. And have you forgotten your hose? I can't let you into the chamber without them. It's a good thing you've got no steel on you. You need to be light on your feet to run around tables. The royal waiter's livery has strict rules. So get changed quick and come back on time.
Here I am.
Let's have a look at you then. You've got a waiter's cap. A tunic you have. Hose are good. It's a good thing you've got no steel on you. You need to be light on your feet to run around tables. Everything as it should be. Glad to see it, lad. Do you know what your duties are? For an inexperienced greenhorn like you, it'll be a great responsibility.
Well, I'll happily listen to any advice. I wouldn't want to foul things up.
I should certainly hope not. Now listen. A good waiter should stand in a corner, look willing and ready, and not get in anyone's way. In short, behave as if you're not there. But when one of the gentlemen calls for wine, you run and pour it for him on the double. You'll find the pitchers on a table by the door to the chapel. You take one and go to their table and pour for them. White Tokaib or red monastery wine?
White or red, by the door to the chapel. Got it.
But for Councillor Adam of Zarzhitz, you must not pour at all. When he drinks, he disrupts and makes trouble. So the assembly has to be interrupted, or otherwise it never reaches an end. We can't allow that to happen in the presence of the king.
All right. Sir Adam of Zarzhitz stays dry.
And if the king himself wants wine, you pour for him with lowered eyes. Don't look at him. And the most important thing?
Remember who wants what?
That too, but more importantly, do not disturb the councillors at their work. They have a lot to discuss. And in general, a good waiter has to be invisible, blind, and deaf.
Oh? I thought I had to keep my ears pricked.
Well, yes. but only to what anyone wants from you. No excuses, and provide everything that anyone wants from you. Understood?
Absolutely. I'm a waiter, after all. Not some street gossip monger.
Correct. And if you manage not to botch it up, you can even rise on the social ladder. Not just anyone can serve the King of Hungary, but you'll manage it, right?
I know everything I need to. I can do it.
Excellent. Put away your things here. It's easier to serve with a lighter load. You can wait in the cubbyhole for the servants.
The city reserves are in urgent need of new weapons. Unversüchlich. Our current Waffenarsenal is a joke. And on top of that, the army was requisitioning from it.
I'm sorry.
Should the town reserve have worse weapons than any Räuber in the domain?
Full cup of monastery wine.
What are you getting at, Eldris?
I'm saying that the bandits who freed Hinnick, the Dry Devil, used that thing. That Hackenbücher. Hand cannon. Can you believe
Come
it?
now, waiter. I wanted
I apologize, sir.
You're
Which
the
one?
one who should
Monastery
know where they
Red.
got them. Since you're a guns...
What are you implying, Friedrich? All I'm saying is that they had them, Herrgott. It is eine Schande when outlaws have better weapons than the city garrison. And Herr König surely knows this too.
What is it, Eldris? Come now, waiter. I wanted red.
What I smell is that your stubborn heads do not realize what Schwierigkeiten this is. The Dry Devil is running free. There are Raubritter everywhere in the region. We have the army bearing down, and you want to defend yourselves with a few rusty halberds.
And who is it you want to fight, exactly? The merciful King Sigismund is providing us with protection, isn't he?
Der König and his army will not be here forever.
Shut up! The king can arrive at any
I'd
moment.
like some monastery wine.
What if he heard
Refill
you?
my cup, boy.
What then? We're sitting atop the biggest silver heap in the kingdom, and we're supposed to defend it with brooms?
You're right, Eldris. But where can we get the coin for better...
I apologize, sir.
We can always
Which
confiscate the property of
Monastery
the
Red.
king's enemies. Nicht wahr?
We are more than familiar with the jämmerlich state of our armory. And the king is surely aware of it as well. Maybe if he waived some of the taxes?
The king fears that this town will rise against him. He'll take the arming of the city's militia as a preparation
Monastery
for war.
wine, here.
So you suggest we just wait with arms
I'd like
crossed
to
for the
oblige,
Raubritter?
but I'm not
Wreak
allowed.
havoc
This is
all around.
unbelievable.
We can always ask the king to bring order to the realm with his army.
But then the Dörfler will rise up.
I'm afraid I see no solution of the current situation. We shall wait and see what His Majesty thinks about the matter. Maybe we can change his mind. Vielleicht.
I fancy some Tokai. Refill, boy. Hey, where's my white?
Excuse me?
I apologize, sir. Which wine?
Tokai! That's the white.
Good, sir.
Well, thank the Lord.
I'd like to report to the Honorable Council on the cleanliness of the city and the state of the public
Waiter,
baths.
get me white.
Baths or brothels?
Isn't it the same thing?
So, the cleanliness of the city is
That's
not
not a good idea, sir.
what it should be.
This is unbelievable.
These current baths in the city fall far short of covering all the citizens' needs.
You're right, Jerome. But a woman named Betty has showed up on Hopbrink and wants to repair the baths that used to be there.
She's a protege of Maresh. Her efforts are commendable, but I don't think she will succeed. It takes a firm hand, not soft, feminine fingers.
A moment ago, you were complaining there weren't enough baths. Shouldn't we support her?
Something like this is better handled by trustworthy people, like my friend, bathhouse proprietor Adam. The need for cleanliness and citizens' health should not be underestimated.
Nor overestimated.
Waiter, pour me
If
red
someone
wine.
needs to wash, there's a river just a few steps from the city walls.
Certainly. And they can get leeches there for free as well. And while he's there, a man can shave and take a... you-know-what.
So what? Going to the baths is neither a civic duty nor a right.
Have you forgotten the Black Death? A great many people died needlessly.
Are you questioning God's plan? The Black Death had nothing to do with the baths, unless the Lord wishes to punish the
I'd like
wickedness
some monastery
that's going
wine.
on in there.
Refill my cup,
Keeping
boy.
the city clean is important. But we don't have money to
I'm
spend.
sorry.
Arguing about
wasn't paying
who's
attention.
going to wash where
This
and
is
how
unbelievable.
is a waste of time.
I got word that Rutard has pulled off another deed.
That's nothing unusual. That old weasel will never accept that the city isn't run his way. At least until His Majesty honors us with his
Hey,
visit.
waiter, pour
And
me
as
some
we know,
monastery wine.
Gunslin absolutely hates him.
He can hate all he wants, as long as he does no damage. Ulrich, what have you got to say about it?
Me? Well, I'm
Sir?
not sure what you're implying.
I'm speaking about the Rutard incident. You were there, weren't you?
Oh, that. Just a small misunderstanding. We've sorted it out and everything's settled.
My ears must be deceiving me. Are you defending Rutard? Besides, if his men attacked yours, as I've heard, then we have a good reason to punish him.
Pour me what happened there? Leave nothing out.
I don't like Rutard, true, but in this case it really was nothing.
Everyone in the city gossiped about it. I heard there were several dead.
Did you? That's grossly exaggerated.
Thank you, waiter.
I don't think Rutard will cause any trouble. He is sensible enough not to draw attention to himself while the king is here.
That's true. Because if we don't do something about him, the king himself will put an end to him, and soon.
Unless he puts an end to us first. God knows what he wants
You
to
there,
tell us.
lad.
If
A
nothing
cup of
happened,
bread.
there's no
And
point
don't
in
you
dwelling
skimp
on
on
it.
me.
Let's move on.
I'm sorry, Andreas, but I wouldn't brush it off so quickly. Why do I have the feeling you're not telling us the whole truth, Ulrich?
Are you accusing me of lying?
Well, thank the
Those are strong words, my friend. Nobody said anything like that, did they?
Then why doesn't he tell us what really happened,
I'm not keeping anything from you, but there's little truth to the rumors circulating around the town. Yes, Rutard and I had a little disagreement, but we ended it quickly because his daughter wanted to get involved. I didn't want to expose the girl to any unpleasant sights.
So Rutard is hiding behind his own daughter's skirts?
As if it wasn't enough that he sent his son to die defending the city.
All right. If we really don't have anything new to say, let's turn the page.
Things have got out of order in the town. Some adventurers decided to take the law into their own hands and restore the tradition of duels. It's not only barbaric, but also illegal. If we tolerate this, the rabble in the city will go wild and do whatever they want. I suspect the gentleman from the city's sword fighting
Waiter,
school brought
get
this
me
custom
white.
to us. That German, Menhard, is just hanging around the market looking for trouble.
Don't be ridiculous, Forsooker. You act like you've never been in a fight yourself.
to accuse
Don't
a
hang around me.
swordsmaster
Vanish,
without a
you
shred
hear me?
of proof. We're not some old fishwives on the marketplace.
So you will just leave it be?
Proven offences are
Waiter.
punished by the bailiff. And that's that. There are more pressing matters to deal with.
More pressing than the open contempt of the whole town garrison. The guards are apparently
Waiter.
settling accounts their own way. We'll soon be the laughingstock of the whole town.
You can rest assured the whole town is already laughing at us all day long. So what if they have one more reason?
Better try harder.
My
Otherwise I'll
words
soon give myself
exactly.
away.
The town council is squabbling constantly at the Emperor Charles, and no one is left unscathed.
And you, a councillor, let people throw dirt on our work?
If I threw out
I fancy
everyone
some
who complains
Tokai.
over a beer,
Refill, boy.
I'd soon be out of customers.
Ah, to hell with it. We'll never get anywhere like this. Why waste our time?
Hey, where's my white?
That's not a good idea, sir.
Since there is the eternal dispute over the cathedrals, the building of the church is dragging on, and in the meantime, they are calling diocesan pilgrimages to settlers, right under our noses. It's just a village with a monastery, and they are going to make a royal mining city. Why can't we build faster? Hire more
I'll have a
craftsmen,
cup of
start with
white.
night shifts.
Haven't you noticed there's a war going on? Are the experts from far off supposed to work in a city under siege?
Besides, I get the feeling there's something other than the
Sir?
welfare of the city behind your complaints.
Oh, you do? Do you?
About time.
And what would that be?
Like, for instance, that you'd like to have your own altar there?
So what if I would?
Hold your horses, gentlemen. That space in the side nave is mine.
When hell freezes over, mein Freund, your place is at least 2 steps behind mine.
A
Hey, boy.
swordsmith dares to
Full cup
insult
of
me?
monastery wine.
Ha! I think not.
Excuse me? You wanted to buy yourself an altar in the cathedral, just like you bought yourself a seat in this council.
How dare you? I acquired my seat for the services our guild provided and still provides to the crown.
Well, I hope you're not supplying equipment to the army. If that's all they have, they would be defeated by that bunch of ne'er-do-wells from the alehouse on Obrink.
What ne'er-do-wells?
Those wrestlers of theirs, of course. People from the whole town go to watch them brawl.
Oh, this is news to me.
Because it has all been sorted out.
Hey, boy,
Not long
a full
ago,
cup of monastery
the guards
wine.
raided and threw them all out.
Ah, yes, I had forgotten. What do we have to discuss next?
Sir?
Thank you, waiter.
I'm telling you, something is being planned.
Oh, I doubt it. No one's gonna tackle Rootard.
Azon al-Juchek Ase, Alegiop Katonaikat, Ishkelkinek Utra.
You have nothing to fear.
Not you.
And like this banner falls!
Come now, Father. Put a little life into your dying. Seen more cheerful priests at funerals.
I'd rather be at one than here. I hoped I'd never see this fortress again in my life.
Unpleasant memories?
You have no idea. I didn't part ways with my father on entirely good terms. 20 years ago.
And now you're 2 decades older and wiser. At your Ujit's parish, you spread the word of God to your flock, and you saved my neck and Henry's too. I'd say your father should be proud of you.
None of that matters a damn to him.
Who knows? Maybe that 20 years has changed a thing or two.
You know what? Let's drop the subject. Do you know any of the guests here?
Most of them I'm seeing for the first time in my life. It's a pretty varied company. We've had bandits, nobles, burghers, a priest, and even a rabbi coming together here. It's like the start of some joke.
Wait a moment. Rabbi, you say? The Kuttenberg rabbi?
Yeah. He came with a retinue. But for now, they're keeping most of it to themselves. Maybe you should go and welcome some of them. After all, this used to be your home. And you're a spiritual man too, so you should have something in common.
I wouldn't be too sure. But I suppose I can try. Who's that French fellow you brought here from Malachov?
The great Baron Brabant. Been everywhere, knows everything, and has the keys to half the kingdom. He's got more fairy tales than my old nanny.
Can he be trusted?
He's a blabbermouth, but a harmless one. Besides, he defended Kuttenberg, and you know how that went. If he were on Sigismund's side, he'd hardly have been locked up with me.
How does it feel to breathe free air again?
What can I say? You can never truly appreciate freedom until someone locks you up for a while.
Or until you become a priest.
No fear of that in my case. I intend to enjoy life to the full. Wine, women, and song.
What do you plan to do now you're a free man again?
What do you think? Get drunk, woo one of the local wenches, and wake up in the morning with no hose and a head like a church bell.
Have you perchance forgotten we're supposed to be deciding the future of the kingdom here?
I'll leave that to the older and wiser. And duller.
Dear me. I'd rather creep off into some corner with a full wineskin. But I suppose I'll have to introduce myself to the rest of the guests, eh?
Indeed you should. After all, you are one of the lords of Rabosh.
Oh, don't start with that. I'd like to steer clear of the old man as long as I can.
In that case, you should sound out Radzig and Hanush and find out what they're actually planning.
Was ist denn los? Ein Bier bitte.
Glad to finally accept my invitation.
Christ, what's the hold-up?
My absence from the city council.
Innkeeper,
has serious
a beer.
I understand.
Why?
I appreciate you coming here all
Good health to you, sir. I'm Godwin. A friend of that lad you arrived with, Henry. We don't know each other.
Baron Vauquelin Brabant, Chevalier d'Arezzo. The last of my line. I am a warrior, a traveler, a strategist, and also, à ma manière, a poet.
My word. Isn't that exhausting?
Mais non! And I'm glad to meet a new friend.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Baron. I knew right away we'd hit it off.
I'll be right with you.
How did you end up imprisoned in Malashov?
Ah, c'est une histoire compliquée. It was after I heroically led the defense of Gothenburg, and only lost it narrowly by an unfortunate turn of events.
That needs some explanation. What unfortunate turn of events?
Oh, misère. It is clear you have never been to war.
So, be so kind as to enlighten me.
When they broke through the defense, I ended up in captivity. It was only due to my acquaintances in a court that I escaped execution.
Oh? I thought it was Henry who saved your neck.
My neck was not at risk in Malashov. I may have still been a prisoner with my personal freedom restricted. But they never broke my spirit.
You say you're a poet? How about a verse or two to amuse us?
Jamais. Is poetry nothing but a farce to you? Is a poet a gesture for amusement? I think not. To recite, I require the proper mood. And besides, few here would understand me.
Where have you been on your travels? Have you seen the ocean?
But of course! I was born by the sea. If you are interested in my greatest journeys, then I have traveled with a merchant caravan all the way to the Ottoman Empire. And if you are interested in my greatest deed, then that was perhaps saving the life of the King of France.
And you wouldn't by any chance know the Pope, personally?
Which one do you mean? I spoke briefly with Boniface IX when I was sojourning in Rome. A pleasant fellow.
How come almost nobody here knows you?
I am operating, as they say. Incognito. My great benefit is my strong connection with the French court. There, everyone knows my name. Here in Bohemia, I'm still building my reputation, slowly, but surely.
Mark my word, we'll be at each other's throats. Such rare guests. One wouldn't expect to find among Christians representatives of your community. I'm Godwin. My greetings to you.
Peace be with you. Neither would one expect a priest here. And yet...
How do you know I'm a priest?
It's not difficult to tell. After all, we have much in common. And we are both a little on unfamiliar ground here. I'm Yehuda, leader of the rabbinical court in the sacred community of Gutenberg. And this is Samuel, my aide.
Who would rather not be here at all. Why did we have to come here, Sadie? Can you not see everyone is staring at us?
Because we all need to help each other in this time of need. And why would they not stare when you are frowning so?
Are you here to arrange some trade?
We have more serious matters to attend to here than gaining a few groschen. The situation in the town and the kingdom is unsustainable. The whole land is on the brink of destruction. You have men and weapons. We have the means to sustain them.
Why are you telling this to a Koimer? You wanted to deliver what we brought to the Margrave and quickly leave.
Everything in good time, Samuel. We have just arrived, after all.
Did you come to lend money to the lords?
Not to lend, but to give. Help given to the needy is repaid only by God.
You don't even know if you can trust them. With that money, we could have paid mercenaries ourselves.
You remind me of my young friend Henry. He's a bit of a hothead too.
Henry? That messenger of Radzik Copula?
You know each other. You're both around the same age.
That would be him. But we did not get off to a very good start.
Well, maybe you'll get to know each other better. He should be coming here later, by the way. For a young stripling, he's been through plenty. It's not so long since his parents were killed in Skalitz. He was supposed to become a blacksmith, and instead, he's roaming the world, risking his neck at every turn.
Wait, a blacksmith, you say? From Skalitz?
Aye, that's right. Did you know anyone there?
I knew of someone. A blacksmith by the name of Martin.
My daughter knew him most, and that is why Samuel is in this world. For our numerous sins.
Maybe he was my father, but he certainly didn't act like one. Ma raised me on her own.
And that was all for the best.
Why? He should have taken care of me, but instead he fathered another bastard.
Don't make hasty judgments. As far as I know, Martin didn't have any other children. At least, none of his own. He took in Henry, and raised him as his own, on the orders of the Lord of Skalitz, Sir Radzik Copula, Henry's real father.
I don't care if he took care of 20 other Mamsas.
That boy's blood father denied him, just like yours did to you.
A person can't choose their parents. And Henry only found out about it recently.
Enough. I'd rather have a drink. Will you have one too, Zayde?
For that, there will be more suitable times.
Good health.
L'chaim.
Dear friends and allies, in these troublesome times, you all know why we're here. The question remains, what to do next? Sigismund is facing troubles in Hungary, and here, too, he is up against resistance. He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words. If we wait him out until winter, he will leave of his own accord.
By winter, he'll have torched all our fortresses and carried off everything that we possess.
Are we seriously gonna wait and cower in a corner? Or are we gonna drive them out in shame? A few well-planned raids and we could have him in our fists!
At what price? Have you got men to spare? Has any of you got men and money to spare?
We don't have men out there.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That whole sun won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Or end with nothing?
Friends, we'll get nowhere like this. Let's adjourn ourselves and try to think it through.
Well, that went just as expected. Good health.
And to yours. Could it have gone any other way when there's so many of us here?
I would have expected a bit more sense from Jobst, of all people. He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to ingratiate himself with everyone. By the way, I'm John of Liechtenstein. And you must be Godwin, the son of...
That's not a thing I've ever boasted of. How do you know that?
I have my sources. From what I've heard about you, I'd judge you could be quite useful to me at today's gathering.
Is that so?
Indeed. And that's why I'd like to ask something of you.
As it happens, I've got nothing better to do anyway.
Excellent. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain... shortcomings?
That's a weak word.
And the way it stands at the moment, he'll never get the support of the Council. But I have an idea how to change that.
Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy the ones who want peace.
We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes, but we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army.
If Sigismund decides to mount an attack on the camp, it'd be a massacre.
Ah, but it won't. Sigismund's army is demoralized and weakened. And besides, he's running out of resources. He's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves, but he won't engage an equal force on the battlefield.
But he can't retreat either. That would be a disgrace.
And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary by events there. For the plan to work, we need allies, their money and their determination. We've already set the ground for it. We just need negotiators who will push the right people in the right direction.
Are you saying you set everything in motion even before Jobst?
More like in parallel, but without his knowledge. If we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win.
You've got an interesting way of approaching things.
You're certainly not the first to tell me that. I take it as a compliment.
Why are you doing all this anyway?
Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths. And also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne.
I'll help you. What exactly should I do?
I'll give you 3 names. Botchek of Kunstadt, Haman Alder, and Anna of Waldstein. If you can get those 3 on our side, we've won the day. Meanwhile, I'll take care of Jobst.
I'll get on it then. Wish me luck.
I wish us both luck. Before the day is over, the die will be cast.
Success to our plans. God be with you, noble lady. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And your money.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that. But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Job's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised. You're astute.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the 2 of us, it isn't hard to figure out what Liechtenstein is after.
Hit the nail on the head again, Mom. You're well informed.
I am rarely mistaken.
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of this crowd.
Not only for people, but also for good food and wine. And beneficial deals.
Then you're in the right place. This occasion provides all of those things.
The wine here is average. The cooks lack imagination. and I have yet to hear any interesting offers. So, to the point. What is it that Liechtenstein wants from me?
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to parley more effectively with Sigismund.
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty. And why ask me for help? Why should I, of all people, take the risk?
It's not only your money we're interested in. You're well able to negotiate and trade. And if you were to take part in our plan...
Then I'd be helpful to you on two fronts. If you want me to support you, you must give me a good reason. Perhaps a favor in return.
Do you have something in particular in mind?
Well, one of the guests here has something that shouldn't get into the wrong hands.
Who's that?
Haman Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support your proposal.
All right, I'll help you. Or at least I'll give it a try.
Alder will surely have the papers in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed on the outer courtyard. Bring them to me, and put these there instead. But watch yourself. Odorim's groom has eyes everywhere.
I'll tell you, nobody has the license.
Not even Kochek?
Hey, you! What are you doing here? No one's allowed in here.
I'm waiting here for you.
Oh, how's that?
I've been watching you for a while, and I have a feeling you do well to talk a little. In conspectu Dei.
Who in God's name are you?
In God's name indeed. I'm a priest, and I know a wretched sinner when I see one.
Is it that obvious? Christ above.
Don't blaspheme. It'll help you more to confess.
And in the morning, when I met him, I swore I never laid eyes on his daughter. Even though my back was scratched raw from our roll in the hay.
That's a mortal sin. Lying with a woman that you're not joined with in holy matrimony. And then lying about it too. That's already 2 commandments broken for the price of 1.
I'll go to hell for that, won't I?
You won't. As long as you repent. Be contrite, fast and pray. 10 Our Fathers. Ego te absolvo.
I'll start right away. Thank you, Father.
I've got those papers from Alder for you.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
Milady, with all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. And now you're part of the bargain.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal with both words and money.
Thank you, noble lady. God will...
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain, Godwin.
How could I refuse a toast with such a fine lady? To your health, Lady Anna.
And to the success of our efforts.
I'd like to check your horses out and see if they're as good as you say.
Pah, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well, well, we have a new guest.
I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without it by your leave. Or to harass my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Alder.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I apologize, Father.
For interrupting our conversation? Or just for being you?
Is that your...
Unfortunately. Speak up, then. What are you doing here?
I came with a delegation from Sir Hanush of Lipa.
Is this a joke?
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in wenches and booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with them, lost everything, and then came creeping home again. Huh?
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
You're exaggerating, like you've always done.
Me? Exaggerating? You're the one who turned my home into a house of ill repute. Your whores wandering around as if they owned the place.
Oh, actually, anything fun was strictly banned under your roof. But maybe you ought to try it yourself sometime. Then maybe you wouldn't be such a bitter old grouch.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd be...
That's enough.
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
We've never met, and we have no cause to be enemies. Take back your challenge, and we'll sort things out peacefully.
You've got no other option. You insulted Father's honor.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for violence. I can have a word in private with Lord Odorin, the second, as he desires, and then...
Out of the question. This uncouth lout needs a lesson, and he's got plenty to learn from Christopher. By God's grace, I have at least one son I can be proud of.
You want satisfaction? You'll get nothing but shame, as always. Suit yourself, then. We'll fight. Come to the outer courtyard, but quietly. We don't have to put on a show for the crowd.
After you.
Well, that's that. Now, where were we?
Shouldn't we rather...
No, Christopher will sort it out, you'll see.
Make room for us. We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back. saw that coming.
Left
Mercy.
arm lower!
Leave me be!
Greetings.
Same to you. My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer. That you could teach sword fighting in a school.
I was in a war. Right after they kicked me out of the archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Aye. Well, I apologize for going off like that. I had to, so that...
So Father would be satisfied. I know. Only he'll never be satisfied. The sooner you realize that, the better.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
Not at all. I remember him the same since I was a nipper. When I was 6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was able to shoot my first hare.
Only 3 days? He got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder?
I've got to get him on our side and to cooperate with us.
Aren't we all on the same side?
Maybe everyone's saying that. But it's time to put it into action.
After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do, though?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me. And tell me what it's all about.
All right, then. You've heard Yob's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You got that right.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about it.
You're starting to sound like a brother. May I have a word with you, sir?
You? Anytime. With you, at least, there's some sensible conversation. Unlike this pack of conceited upstarts.
Young Lord Capon is finally free again. Let's hope he'll take better care of himself now.
He got a harsh lesson. But at least he might remember to lay off that tomfoolery of his for a while. But if not, war will make a man of him soon enough.
Do you think there's really going to be a war? I mean a proper one, not just sitting around and talking about it.
I sincerely hope so. Whoever sits around risks nothing. It's time to get off our asses and take action.
Have you got something against the Kuttenberg nobles?
Their forefathers lived up to their ears in dung. But thanks to the royal mines, they were born with silver spoons up their asses. And they think that can turn their blood blue.
But surely they're not all like that. And they are our allies.
Allies or not, Someone ought to show them their place.
What do you think about Jobst?
Are you testing me? Jobst called this assembly and he wants things to turn out well. We have to trust him.
To turn out well for whose benefit, though? Some are up to their elbows in silver and blood, so others can live in freedom.
Better make sure you're among the latter, then. And in the meanwhile, help the former to keep their losses to a minimum.
Godwin, you wouldn't be avoiding me. We didn't have much time for conversation on the way here. Let's rectify that.
With pleasure, sir. As it happens, there's something I'd like to ask you. What are you expecting from today's gathering, my lord?
Well, I have no great expectations. But, all going well, we may be able to establish some joint steps towards the future. As long as we proceed without prior agreement and mutual support, we will be very unlikely to achieve any progress.
I couldn't help but notice your son has a bit of a talent for getting into trouble.
To put it mildly, but not to do him an injustice, knowing young Lord Capon, he undoubtedly contributed to that more than a little. Although, if they didn't pull each other out of trouble, God knows where they'd be now.
Wise words. Still, Henry's come a long way on a thorny path. I trust you're rightfully proud of him.
You know, I am. And Martin would also be glad, even though Henry chose a different path than he.
May God grant him eternal rest. Where did you leave Sir Divish? Surely he's not too old to miss out on such an event.
Haven't you heard? Lady Stephanie is with child. No one even imagined Divish would produce an heir at his age.
As they say, doesn't matter who kneaded the dough, as long as there's a pie in the oven.
Godwin.
Well, it could be a miracle. Praise the Lord!
I need to plow too. And you won't lend me yours on any other day. Go and see the priest first. If he says it's all right, I'll be happy to help you, friend. Mind where you're going.
God bless.
Jesus Christ, we pray.
Wasn't it the lords of Kunstadt who got the most out of it?
You said it.
Sir Bocek, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Jobst comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men at arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men at arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
How can I persuade you?
I need guarantees of security. I don't want to end up like Rutard.
Of course. Once it comes to protecting property, ideals go out the window.
You can talk, since you haven't got a pot to piss in yourself. If you were in my position, you'd think differently. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you openly oppose Sigismund?
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
I believe Liechtenstein is single.
And an uncertain party. Besides, he's inconvenient for Sigismund. Yitka could end up being a pawn to blackmail both of us.
How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster still.
What's wrong with him? He's young, he's handsome, women are fighting over him. Yitka will like him, and he'll give her a whole bunch of children.
And to half the wenches in his domain too, eh? On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good reputation, and Hanush can always be relied on, despite his temper. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
So, will you support our plan?
You're selling the skin of a boar that's still grunting. First, I want a confirmation that the wedding will take place, as soon as possible.
And what if Lord Capon refuses?
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty pass.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice. Now stop dilly-dallying and go and tell Hanush.
Good to see you, friend.
Greetings to you, friend.
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
I've gained us a powerful ally.
And who is it? I hope it's not one of those Kuttenberg stuffed guts.
On the contrary, it's Bocek, the Elder of Kunstadt and Podjebrad.
Kunstadt? By Christ, he's the last one I'd have expected to step up. How the hell did you do it?
Well, there's one little catch. I had to promise him... I don't even know how to begin.
Out with it.
Lord Kunstad has a niece, so... I arranged a betrothal for young Lord Capon, with your blessing if you agree.
Hans Capon is to marry Yitka of Kunstadt. Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
Cheers!
Cheers to you, and to your parleying skills.
like hell when I shit. It's like my arse is on
Sir Bocek, your niece Yitka can start preparing for her wedding.
So Hanush agreed, without reservations.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end of the bargain without reservation.
Thank you, Lord of Kunstad.
Enough formality. We'll have a drink. What do you say?
Cheers to the beautiful Lady Yitka and the unhappy Lord Caitlin.
Here's to a good bargain.
Walk out of here with a clear plan. But maybe you were right. It was probably not the...
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstad will support our cause.
Both of them. Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords?
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord. But we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes! And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the Balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslaus, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.
After we conquered the city, you promised to restore order immediately. And then I find out things are even more disordered than before.
Your Majesty, we are sorry. We will put it to rights.
You've already said that. I want to hear real solutions.
We will put more guards on the roads and toughen penalties. We can have a few captured bandits executed as an example to others.
We do not care about bandits. We care about rebellious nobles and burghers. What will you do with them? How will you solve the chaos in the town administration, the rebellious miners, and the dismal yields? And how is it even possible that a rebellion against the king is smoldering here in the city?
What do you mean, sire?
I hear the resistance is coming from the Jewish quarter, from right under your noses. Why haven't you done anything?
We don't know who is behind this. Without evidence, we cannot punish them.
Otto von Berghoff did not ask questions in Prague either. He acted. And I advise you to do the same. Find a couple of wretches in a hole somewhere, point them to the Jewish quarter, and give them free rein to do anything. The city's Jewish community was and still is on Wencesla's side. They need a warning.
We do not even have enough men to...
Marquardt, could you spare a few men for a while?
Of course, sire. I'll assign them to Eric. He'll take care of it.
So you see? All you have to do is make sure the city rabble get their share. You could at least manage that, couldn't you? And if the thought should cross your minds that you would get rid of the debts to the Jewish moneylanders this way, forget about it. Your debts will remain, up to the last groschen. Only now you owe us directly. And while we are on the subject of money, has the yield from the mines finally matched last year's?
Sire, the deposits are dwindling, and mining is becoming increasingly difficult. And to make matters worse, the miners started rebelling.
Don't take us for a fool. They'll stop rebelling when you pay them proper wages.
Your Majesty, we can't do that.
Silence! How dare you oppose the kingdom's protector? You're a bunch of incompetent sycophants! Chicken shits! Not any better than the scum hiding in the forest.
I apologize, sire. I'll do everything in my power to...
All I hear from you over and over again are excuses and prevarication. And results? None. I therefore placed the city council under the authority of Sir Marquardt von Aulitz, who is present here, with immediate effect. He will make sure you finally do your duty.
But, sire, that would be a violation of the privileges granted to us as a free mining town.
Silence! I am the only guarantor of your rights. You have to earn your privileges, not hide behind them. During my brother's reign, this idleness was perhaps tolerated. But that is over now. You were given a few simple tasks. But instead of working on them, you idled in the baths and lined your pockets. And let the traitors cast their nets undisturbed. But unlike my brother, I am capable of creating order. And I assure you, I do not distinguish between those who stand in my way. Be they beggars, noblemen, or city councillors. You have 2 weeks to restore order in the city and increase mining output. I want clear results, and you answer only to me and Sir Marquardt von Aulitz now. No one else. The council is dismissed. You, don't go anywhere, boy. Be so kind and remain here. Our throat has become rather dry. And we still wish to speak with our friend von Aulitz.
Yes, sire. As you wish, sire.
Between the two of us, Marquardt, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly. We have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you were harsh, rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place. You suffered their insolence for far too long. And the same is true of the Jews.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is time to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerant of us if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the King's cup is empty?
You tend to us as if we were infirm. Boy, pour us a monastic wine. The monks are good here. We have concerns, friend. The Hungarians are rebelling. Our army is falling apart, and we have enemies here on all sides. Would we had a proper army instead of human mercenaries. They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now than a few months ago. Thank you. It is a good year. If our father were still alive, he would have been astonished by the mess that a few years of Wenceslas' reign brought to us. With a single word, he would have put the nobility in their place, and the country would flourish. God grant him eternal glory.
We won't need much more time. We'll arrest the traitor Odorin, and the rest will fall in line.
You say the others will be brought into line, but what do you know of them? We know only a few of them. But there's a fortress standing on every damn hill here. What side are their lords on?
We'll find out soon enough, sire.
If only Wenceslas were not such a stubborn ass, and relinquished that throne that he has no use for anyway. The nobility, on the other hand, found a ruler like him very useful. They made a puppet out of him.
Once you restore order, they'll join you. All you have to do is promise them the privileges they lost during Wenceslas' reign.
First, they'd have to be willing to make peace at least among themselves. Jobst does everything he can to sow chaos, so that he himself emerges victorious in the end. This business makes me thirsty. Pour me some of that red, boy.
I think Jobst is just waiting for the right moment. He'll switch sides when it suits him.
Maybe. But first I'll have to conquer a few more cities, and get a couple more lords on my side. Then they take the threat seriously. And Hungary. If Bohemia is a wasp's nest, then Hungary is a viper's lair.
You will follow in his footsteps, sire, as soon as you get the chance.
But the wine is good here. To your health, Margaret. And to your health too, boy. May your children grow in a land ruled by a good king.
Thank you, sire. You are too magnanimous.
Why? You did a good job. You can be proud of yourself.
To your health, your majesty.
First, we need to crack down on the biggest troublemakers.
We're working on it. While the consul was meeting, Otto von Berghoff and his men set out for Raposh. Odorin won't give you any more trouble.
He and Ruthard are in it together. Once we get Odorin, we can handle Ruthard easily. Rabosh will be yours. After all, Otto has already got Malishov.
I appreciate your confidence, sire.
But the devil knows there are a lot more strongholds to conquer here.
For the king, red wine, boy.
No, we shall have white. We have had enough of it.
White it is. Quickly! If Rabosh falls, others will follow.
I think von Berghoff's little contraption will find its use again.
If need be, we could use it to raise this town hall too. And I have some suggestions for other candidates.
Not so fast, my friend. It's a wondrous tool, but we can't rely on it forever.
But to bring it here to the square and point it at the city hall? Those sycophants would only benefit from a warning like that.
It's a splendid idea, but it won't be necessary. The councillors are quite fearful enough already that they can hide nothing from us.
There's been enough fretting, sire. You shall see. Soon we will drink to the conquest of another fortress.
You are right. So then, to victory. And you, boy, will you drink with us? So that you shall have something to tell your children and grandchildren.
To victory, sire.
To today's, and those of the future.
That Lord Constance is marrying the young Lord of Perkstein.
I sure did. Botshelter made sure everyone heard.
And who is this young puppet? I've never heard of him.